I'm Paul Lumen, and I'm the cinematographer for a film called Zona Sur, which means Southern District. It's a Bolivian feature, and it's competing in the World Narrative Competition in Sundance. It is basically a portrait of an upper-class Bolivian family in the capital La Paz during times of social, political, and economic change. I initially started working with Juan Carlos, who's the director, about a year and a half before. I met him through a friend of mine here at UCLA who's a director, and he gave me a call probably about 6 or 7 months later to shoot a cell phone commercial. They got a big ad campaign. He said, "Look, I want to try a new young DP, and I want to give you a shot, and let's see where it goes from there." And within a week, I was down there. I shot for 10 days straight. I didn't know what I was getting into, but I just tried to make an adventure of it and do my best, obviously. And we won a bunch of awards for it, so they kept on hiring me after that. So over that period of time, I was able to spend time in Bolivia, and we traveled all around the country shooting commercials, and I was able to see and learn about the culture and the language and the food and the people. So I was able to see from different points of view the social change and the political change going on. And then he had a script that he had been writing for a while, and that's when I started Zona Sur. What we did in this film was shoot the scenes in a one-shot master. Juan Carlos felt that this story had to be told in a way where there was no narrative ploys, in a way. We didn't want to tell the audience how to feel. Like, if you want the audience to feel intensity, sometimes you go here, you go tighter, right? Or if you want a creepy feeling, you push the dolly in slowly, right? That's a visual language. Juan Carlos wanted to stay away from that because he wanted to portray the family situation, but not comment on the social issues or the political issues. And I thought it was a very noble way of telling the story, and I respect him for that. Either the camera was in the middle of the room or the middle of the action on a rotating head or remote head, which I controlled outside of the room, or it was on a dolly track or some kind of apparatus to encircle the scene, encompass the scene, looking in. And he wanted to do that to play upon how people are often stuck in their social, political, or economic circles that they can't break out of. It gave it this great surrealist portrait. It was almost like a tableau. Some of them are very slow moving. Some of them are a little faster. And in that way, instead of setting up for a wide shot and then a master and then a close, we did different sizes of lenses. We did different pacing of the camera head. We did different blocking with the actors. That was our version of coverage, or basically options for the editor. So instead of choosing this shot and medium shot and close-up, then they would choose this one whole shot or this one whole other shot, which were completely different. There's one shot in the film, and it was the very first shot that we did. It was our first day of shooting, and it was atop this huge hill next to Lake Titicaca. And that scene was the scene of a child's funeral. And it comes at a time in the film where we're released from the bubble of the house. So this is the first time we're out of the house. To me, this was a very, very important scene to be shooting the first thing in the whole movie. And it was such an interesting setup because we were at the top of this huge hill. There were no paved roads. We drove up as much as we could on the trail. And then from that point on, it took about 3 or 4 hours to drag everything up. And it was mostly by mules and people. So, actually donkeys, sorry. So we had donkeys bringing the dolly track up and the dolly, and all the grips bringing up all like the jib arm and everything. This is the first time I've used donkeys to transport film equipment. And they were so cute. It was amazing. And then once we were up there and we set up the shot, those donkeys are actually in the shot as extras. And once we actually got all the stuff set up, it rained on us for about an hour and a half. Just everybody's hiding on their tarps, on their tents, whatever. We brought as much as we could, but it was a downpour. And we waited and waited and waited. But when those clouds broke, that was the most amazing shot. Like, I look at that shot now, and you can see probably 5 different types of weather in the background, and it almost looks like it's green screen, but it's not. That's the real weather. It's sunny, it's cloudy, it's raining. You can see the lake, you can see mountains. It's a 360 shot around this funeral, and it was our first or second take that we ended up using, but we did like 15 or 16 more after that. It was definitely one of my favorite moments and serendipitous moments. And actually in Chinese filmmaking, if it rains on your first day of shooting, that's good luck. So I think it definitely helped us in a way. When I found out that we got into Sundance, I was actually in the Philippines. I was with my father visiting family, and he was working. I didn't have work for a few weeks, so I had time, but I was kind of feeling down because I wasn't working. I was in contact with Juan Carlos, the director, through email, and we had just gone to the Tokyo Film Festival, which was amazing. And he went to Spain to the Huelva Film Festival there. And he emailed me and he said, "Oh, you won the award for Best Photography." And I was like, "Oh, great." And I'm always trying to think of ways to justify my occupation to my parents, because they have nothing to do with film or the arts. They're academics. And when I made the choice to become a DP, they're like, "Okay, why? And what is that?" So any chance I get, I'm like, "Look what I did." So I was like, "Look, I won an award." And my dad was like, "Great, that's awesome." And I got an email like 3 days later from Juan Carlos. And he said, "Don't tell anyone because they haven't released it yet, but I have a good feeling that we're in." So I assumed that he got a phone call or some email from a programmer. And so I didn't say anything. And then I saw it in Variety like 3 days later. For the film itself, I think it's a great way to introduce this film to an American audience. And it's the best platform to do that. It's an important film for Bolivia as a country. And then me as a DP, yeah, it's great for people to see my work. And I feel like it's a perfect film for me as a DP because we took a chance. And if I went with conventional coverage, it would look like other films with its visual language. So either you hate it or you love it or you're somewhere in between, but I feel like it definitely gets a reaction out of people in its form and its content. So I'm hoping that audiences will see that and appreciate it, or at least have an opinion about it.